Hello and welcome to Community Crossroads. This week's episode is dedicated to SGRC Texas and Belong. We're focusing on foster care and parental services. And we're joined by Vice President of Communications and Marketing for SGRC, Ms. April Molina. And we're also joined by a permanency specialist, Ms. Katie Johnson. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Well, it's great to dedicate this whole episode of Community Crossroads to SGRC, especially we're recording this in the month of May, so it is Foster Care Awareness Month. Talk to us about what your organization does and what services you offer.
So thank you for the opportunity, and like you said, highlighting this in National Foster Care Month is really meaningful for us as an organization. So although our work every day, right, throughout the year is important, SGRC Texas, we are more than 43 years old. We started as a foster home in the Hill Country north of San Antonio, bringing children in the foster home, giving them a temporary place to live and grow. And then we opened a child policing agency in San Antonio, and then we opened a family resource center just north of San Antonio. So that kind of encompasses SGRC and who we were before we took on Belong, which is community-based care.
And now you've just grown into this statewide resource. You have kind of these pop-up hubs and events throughout the region, and we're just so lucky, the parents here are so lucky to have y'all. Talk to us about the community-based work y'all do.
Okay, thank you for asking. So community-based care is a newer model of foster care. When people think of foster care, they think of DFPS or CPS, and the state is still involved in investigations of abuse or neglect, and they also make decisions about when children should be removed from the home. But if you're under a community-based care model, which we are in this area here, and in our 28 counties in Texas that we cover, we then handle the placement of those children. We could get a call in the middle of the night. We have 4 hours to find placement for a child or sibling group. In foster care, sometimes it might be in a general residential operation depending on their needs. So we handle that. We also handle the case management, and then we handle the permanency. And permanency looks one of 3 ways. Our goal is always, especially with like a neglect case, if it's safe and appropriate, to reunify children with their biological families. But we have workers like Katie here, who you're going to hear from in a minute, and she's going to tell you about some of that really important work that she does with families to work services and all kinds of things to help those parents be the best parents they can be. We also sometimes place children with kinship, and that means grandparents, aunts, uncles, close family friends even, because it's important for children to feel a sense of belonging and their cultural continuity. So we look for kinship families too. And then when we can't find kinship families, we're obviously are looking for adoptive families. That's very important too.
So that's kind of where the public can step in.
That's right.
Interesting. Well, Katie, talk to us about your role as a permanency specialist. What kind of, I know you must have to have a delicate touch, right, when it comes to these cases.
Yes. So once the child is removed, I basically oversee all of the case management for the children and families. With Belong, we really focus on putting children back with families if it's safe and appropriate, and keeping them in their communities and with their families, if that's able. We provide services to the parents. We try to help mitigate the concerns that led the child out of the home. We offer services like the fatherhood program, the PAT program that we have, really getting them to understand what the concern was and how we can wrap around them as a community and as an organization to be able to put the children back in the home with them.
Wow, and what can people do in the community to help if they want to provide their resources, their time?
So really we have a lot of community partnerships that we work with, that organizations that help. There's counseling, there's services, substance abuse, for the abuse and neglect, different organizations that help the parents understand what could have been done differently or things like that. So I'll let April talk on what the community can do exactly, because for us we focus on our families and our kids and just wrapping around them and the services like counseling and different things like that.
That are just even here locally in the Crossroads.
Right.
So we have Midcoast Family Services, the Gulf Bend Center, area agencies that. Well, thank y'all so much. We're gonna continue the conversation here on Community Crossroads with SGRC Texas and Belong. We'll be right back. I'm now joined by the Regional East Director for SGRC Texas Belong, Nicole Lynn. Welcome, Nicole.
Thank you.
So it's National Foster Care Month. We're taping this in May, but we are concerned and also care about our foster families, foster children all year round. Talk to us about some community-based programs that y'all do, and what do you do to ensure that families, kinship families, get to stay together?
Yeah, and so community-based care, right, takes the community. It's not just one entity for us, it's many, and so we really rely on the community resources that are already here, nonprofits, churches, just a community member that wants to get involved, right, to come and wrap around our families, specifically our kinship. All of our families, but our kinship always need that extra level of support. You know, when you go into fostering, you normally, you know you're gonna do it. You go to an informational meeting, you get your rooms ready, and you're like, I can do this. A lot of times our caregivers get that phone call in the middle of the night saying, we have your relatives, can they be placement with you? And you take them in and it's like, okay, we're gonna do this. So really wrapping around them is really important with our community-based care work.
So as soon as you're aware that there might be a situation with a family member, reach out. Reach out to SRJ Texas Belong and maybe get ahead of that and get the training that you need for that placement.
Yes.
Obviously, like, report important things to CPS, but just kind of getting ready for that before waiting to find out, like, oh, I'm the person.
Yeah, I mean, you can always plan ahead, and sometimes you may see that happening if you have a family member that's headed down that path. But with kinship placements, a lot of times they're already placed there from the investigation side or coming out of family-based services, or sometimes they're not, right? And it's the emergency removals. And so we ask caregivers to reach out. We oversee 28 counties, so we know of the children that are from this area, like Victoria, we know those, but sometimes we have children that are placed in Victoria from a different area that we don't represent, right, like Houston. Those caregivers can also reach out to us to help support, and we might not be the case management over that case, but we will definitely wrap around that kinship family just like our own and support them through this time.
Do y'all provide kind of training and insight on establishing boundaries, you know, once they're placed with a relative and maybe not their original parents, just kind of protecting the child and maintaining those boundaries all year round?
Yeah, so whenever we go in, we make sure and see what do they need. And the real cool thing about us is we have our permanency specialists, you know, that can come in, but they also have an added layer with our kinship specialists, which is another support to really sit there and assess the needs and support that family. So maybe it's a situation where, like, hey, they need a little bit more help on maybe what is trauma and how to help their relative get through that. And maybe it's a situation where it's an older caregiver that hasn't had a child in their home in a long time and they need parenting help, right? Because raising a child now is way different than 20 years ago. And so we just go in and assess whatever the needs are of their family, and it's not one size fits all when it comes to community-based care and the work we do. It's really geared to look at the needs and make a plan and resources that fit that family and not just as a whole.
Talk to me about your team that you oversee. You're the Regional East Director.
Yeah.
So talk to me about your team and kind of what a typical day in their work life looks like.
So for here in the East, we're a strong team of 2.
Wow.
So it's myself and my community liaison, Cynthia Ramirez, and we have a larger team that oversees 28 counties, but we oversee the 7 here in the Golden Crescent area. And really it's the community building aspect, right? It's the community piece. And one thing is that I've learned about this area, I mean, I'm born and raised in this area too, and I haven't met somebody that will say no, right? When you tell them about the work we do, I have not had one person shut the door on me and say, no, I'm not doing it. A lot of them, it's like, I didn't know that was an issue. I didn't know what I could do to help. And so our role is to go out in the community and share about the work we're doing, share about the amazing work our frontline staff are doing, and share about the needs of our children, because a lot of times they just don't know. They'll meet the need, they just need to know about it.
Well, I hope to see you more at De Leon Plaza and all the big events we have here. Thank you so much, Nicole.
Thank you.
All right, well, coming up, don't go anywhere. We learn more from the SRJ Texas Belong, and we'll be right back. We're continuing the conversation with SGRC Texas and Belong. We're joined by Vice President of Marketing and Communications, Ms. April Molina.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Nicole Wynn, who is our Regional East Director.
Yes.
And we've invited y'all here as part of National Foster Care Month, the month of May, but we care about foster kids all year round. So talk to us about the foster care services that y'all offer, and what are the foster care youth like here in our region?
Well, I guess what I want to start by saying is just maybe how important fostering is, and not fostering to adopt is very important, but also just being willing to foster kids, like, you know, in that very critical, vulnerable time in their lives, because a lot of our children, they come to us and we have a hope of reunifying them with their family when it's safe and appropriate to do so. We work with them on services and parenting classes, all kinds of things. And so during that time, it could be 6 months, it could be a year, those children need to feel loved, they need to feel safe. And so looking for those kind of foster homes is so important for us.
Yeah, how do you find these families, and who are these families, these foster care families?
Yeah, so here in the Golden Crescent area, I know sometimes it's out of sight, out of mind, right? You sometimes think of the larger cities, that's where these children should be from, but we have 173 kids from our Golden Crescent crossroad areas that are in the child and family well-being system. So it is a need here as well. And so we need the families here locally to step up so we can truly roll out community-based care the way it's meant to be, which is raising our kids in our community, and foster parents are a part of that plan for us.
And part of keeping families in Victoria, which is good for everyone, from the educational aspect, the economic aspect. But from a childhood perspective, to be able to stay in your hometown versus going to some other strange place can be really meaningful while they're going through this transition in their life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they went through a traumatic event, like April had said, that some of us were fortunate to not have to go through, right? And so they go through that. And so to be able to remain in their community where it's stability, comfort, the people they know, versus being pulled away from that on top of everything else is so important. They can continue going to their school or continue seeing connections with family, friends, churches is so part of that healing process for them. And so being able to keep them here is important for them, for us, for everybody involved.
Yeah, and that's part of the whole community-based care model, is that we want the community to be involved in whatever way they can, right? If you're a grandparent, you can get involved as a kinship parent, or you can be involved as a foster parent. Not everyone has a capacity to adopt, but we know everyone has the capacity to do something to help out. And even if it's supporting our organization or individually or with your business, right? There's all kinds of ways to connect with us. But right now, I would say our greatest need is sibling groups, because some people might be able to, you know, bring one child into their home, but it's a big ask to bring 3 or 4 children into your home. But, you know, think about these children who've already suffered the trauma of being separated from their parents. We don't also want them to be separated from their siblings if we can help that. So foster families for large sibling groups, and foster families for the older youth. You know, we talked about that a little bit ago, that we now have care for the older youth in our organization in Bulverde at our general residential facility. And so these are children who've been in and out of foster care for years. Some of them have had multiple placements, multiple layers of trauma, and that means more intense behaviors. And not everybody's equipped to handle that. You know, it takes a special person to do that, but that is always going to be a need for us.
Definitely always a need, and there's more families, more couples choosing not to have children early in their relationships, their lives, but maybe you come a little bit down the road, and maybe you're missing that kind of, you know, presence in your life. So it could be fulfilling for the parents even.
Fill the house, absolutely.
Yeah, fill the house. Well, I'm looking forward to learning more as we continue. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to learn more about fostering children and parenting services here in the Crossroads. We'll be right back. We're continuing the conversation on foster care and parenting services. We're joined by Ms. Cynthia Goslin and Lindsay, who is the Director of At-Home Services. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Well, it's great to have y'all here, and I'm wondering, what is this teachers, or rather Parents as Teachers program, what is it about, and what are the goals? I understand Miss Cynthia, you are an educator.
Yes, ma'am.
And Lindsay, you're also involved.
Yeah, so the Parents as Teachers program is a free, evidence-based, in-home parenting program that provides support for families with children's prenatal through kindergarten. The wonderful thing about it is our parent educators come in and work with families anywhere from 1 to 2 times a month. Each visit lasts about an hour, and those parent educators are able to tailor the curriculum to meet those families' individuals' goals and needs. And so that looks like bringing positive parent-child interactions, helping them to understand their child's development, and really focusing overall on family well-being. And the goals of our program is really to just provide strong family units and help with school readiness as well.
School readiness, one of the most traumatic, days of a child's life can be the first day
It's a lot.
of kindergarten.
It's a lot for parents too. It's a lot to navigate for sure. So we want to make sure families are feeling confident and ready, and that their child has the supports that they need before they enter school. We do a lot of early childhood development screeners. So if there is a potential for a delay or a concern with their development, we can kind of get that ball rolling and help connect them to our community partners so they can get those early supports and be ready to go on that first day of kindergarten.
And what has it been like as an educator, Cynthia, just reaching out to these families, working with them? Has it been kind of, a collection of unexpected things?
I love it so much. In the beginning, we reach out to them and we do their enrollment, and you get to know their cultures, their routines, their values, and you try to make them feel comfortable and where they can, ask you questions or voice their concerns. So then we go in and we support them for whatever their needs are.
So this is focusing on the child's education, what you can provide as a parent up until that first year of kindergarten.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
So learning your ABCs by the time you're 2.
Yeah, absolutely. Learning all of those different ways. I mean, learning
Tasting
is happening.
the different foods.
Yeah, there's so many different avenues to parenting, and every child is so unique and different. And as much as we would love our children to come home with us along with a manual, they don't, right? And so it's a lot for parents to learn and to navigate. So our job is to come in and help support them and understand why their child may be having struggles with sleeping, or understand how to meet their nutritional needs, and really how you can support their learning through simple things like play and reading with them every single day.
Yeah. These are like backed up scientific approaches, evidence-based approaches. You don't want to just go off like, what is it, mom talk? Off of whatever social media tells you. These are authentic experiences.
Yes, I think one of the hardest things for parents nowadays is we are inundated with knowledge from everywhere, right? We have it, social media, mom blogs, the internet, and it's so overwhelming, and your child may not need the same things as those children, or that may not be what works for your family. So it is such a huge benefit to have a certified parent educator come in and just sit down one-on-one and help you brainstorm.
All right, well, thank y'all again.
Thank you.
And coming up, don't go anywhere. We hear more from our guest here on Community Crossroads. We'll be right back. I'm now joined by 2 members of SJRC Texas, and actually an employee and a participant. We're joined by Matt Snellings, and we're also joined by Randall Jasek, here to talk to us about the fatherhood services. So Matt, talk to us about what offerings, what resources you have for father figures. So this can be an uncle, a grandfather.
That's right. Yeah, it could be anybody, a stepfather, grandfather, a male caregiver, really is what we call it. And so our job really is to create supportive and nurturing environments where families can grow. And so our part of that is to care for dads in the program. And so we do that through 2 different offerings. One is called the Nurturing Fathers class, and it's online, it's all free. And so we'll go through different topics every week for about an hour. And we'll talk about things like unmet needs, how to deal with conflict, how to manage our emotions, but really just provide tools for dads to help them be more engaged in the life of their family. And so we have the Nurturing Fathers program, and then we also have the Fatherhood Forum, which is more about connection and support. It's really a conversation more than it is a class, but we just talk about different topics every week. It's focused on the 5 protective factors, which are just things that help keep families safe.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk about resilience and concrete supports and things like that. So those are our 2 offerings. That is also online, but we also do some in person.
So about hour-long sessions, and this is kind of covering topics for every era of fatherhood.
That's right.
Because it changes as the child grows.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then also that support system. So Randall, talk to us about what it's been like as a participant, getting these resources and really becoming part of this community.
Yeah, so I was fortunate enough to find these resources when I was an expecting father, and for me it was kind of like a playbook of here's what I'm learning about my own fatherhood experience and what to expect being a father, or at least growing up, and reflecting on those. I built my own playbook in a way, but I also learned so much from other fathers in the program, fathers who have teenage sons, and daughters, and of course, you know, other fathers like me who have young children. And it really built out kind of a plan for not just myself, but also my wife, because I kind of shared some of the things that were personal for me. I shared those with my wife as well, and I feel like it made me both a better dad and husband.
Yeah, it's something that you can find, you know, outside of the busy places where we gather, like the bar or maybe it's church, but it's not really like a place where it's just focused on you and fatherhood.
Yes.
And what would you say to someone who's on the fence, maybe thinking, oh, I don't know if I need this, but maybe I should consider it? What would you say to someone that's kind of considering joining?
Sure.
Absolutely. So on what you were saying is just perfect, because it's kind of like that third place, but specifically for talking about being a dad, because you don't have to worry about, oh, we're going to talk about something specific outside of it. You know, we're going to stay focused on here's what you are as in your life as a father. Here's what other fathers are doing. Here's some resources, you know, depending on what program you're in. And I think they've both been incredibly valuable. I would definitely recommend to any fathers who are considering it, taking that time. You'll learn so much about yourself and about what you value in your life and what you want your kids to value as well.
Some really substantial insight, not just kind of like a passing anecdote while we're talking about the fundraiser, right, coming up for whatever we're a part of. So I hope fathers do reach out, father figures as well. Stepdads, they need help too. And grandparents, they're raising the new generation more and more. Well, thank y'all so much.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that does it for this week's show. Be sure to tune in next week. We hope y'all have a safe rest of your weekend.